welcome along to another episode of this FM21 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's part 77 today, and we are back for two more big games in the Premier League. We talked about it last time, playing the top boys we didn't look convincing. And today we've got London derbies against third place Chelsea and fourth place Arsenal in a North London derby. Two sides directly below us in the Premier League. And realistically looking at it, they're the sides that are chasing us. If them and Liverpool have good seasons, fifth is probably our limit. So we're waiting today to find out if we can put the cat amongst the pigeons and potentially finish higher than that. Based on the last episode, you suggest no, but otherwise we've still been pretty consistent. So if you're looking forward to today's episode and finding out if we can do any better, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily content from two long-term stories, and there's links to all the playlists in the eye above, as well as the new Twitch channel in the description below. But thank you again for your incredible support as we go and have a look at what's been happening at Tottenham, and it's largely been exactly the same. The most important thing is we're progressing in the cups that we wanted to focus, and that is something that's always going to remain essential. However, one of the things we have got to bear in mind is the fact that in the league we've got a pretty tough spell coming up now. We've got this little block with Chelsea and Arsenal. We've then got three important but winnable games. Lokomotiv Moscow is just to top the group if we haven't done it already. West Brom, a league game we must win. And then Leicester in a Carabao Cup quarter-final, a competition we really want to prioritise. But then we've got the other two teams that were in last year's top six. Everton haven't started well this year. Manchester United are absolutely flying again. But they're the two sides who, again, we're potentially going to struggle against. West Ham are the Championship are our third round opponents in the FA Cup. So not the worst draw, not the nicest either. But overall, I think we've got a chance. And if we can sneak into that fourth place in the league and just one of those other sides slip up, this could be one hell of a season. But since you were last with me, we bounced back against poor opposition in BK Häcken. Unfortunately, they couldn't compete with us. And between Soden, Marchand, Santa Maria and Yildiz off the bench, we managed to put four past them. We won 3-0 at home to Watford, a Pereira brace and a Reina goal. Thankfully, a dodgy penalty started it off for us because we didn't look good for half an hour. A 1-0 win followed away at Leeds in the Carabao Cup. Marchand scored for the rotated side. And then a 1-goal victory in the league as well, this time by 2-1. Tommy Doyle scored for Leeds from the penalty spot, a hero from our Cliftonville series in FM20. I'll put a link to that in the eye above for anyone who missed it back in the day. And Joel Santos and Semi Yildiz got the 2 goals for us as we turned it round and won before half-time. Into November, a 5-0 win followed against BK Häcken in a reverse fixture. 2 for Santa Maria, 2 for Parks and an own goal wrapped that up. A sneaked 1-0 victory at Derby in a dominant display. Kagla Suyuncu against one of our former clubs. A 3-1 win at home to Brentford. We fell behind. We were so lucky in this game. We were awful. We were probably outplayed. Brentford had as many shots on target as us, but a Pereira brace and a late Mikel Santa Maria strike managed to wrap us up an undeserved 3-1 victory. Our first blank of the season followed against Copenhagen, a 0-0 draw. We were already through, but it just leaves that top spot on a bit of a knife edge. If Lokomotiv Moscow can batter us, they'll be able to nick top spot. Not that I think they will though. But we did bounce back at the weekend, a convincing win against Wolves, and one of the first games where we took the chances we had. We weren't brilliant in terms of creating 15, 20, 25 shots, but we were ruthless. A Pereira brace, 2 in the same minute, Yildiz and Reina with 4 goals there. But Victor Siganov for the first time didn't get one over on us, and that's something we can be pleased about. The problem we have got though is that all of these games are so closely bunched together, so we've had to take a bit of a gamble. What we're going to do today as we face Chelsea is we're going to rotate the side heavily because we will not be forgiven if we don't compete in a North London derby. So we played our first team against Wolves, got an excellent result. We're going to play our reserves against Chelsea and try and get something out of it or just defend for our lives. You can see we've already got a couple of injuries to the first team anyway. And then against Arsenal at the weekend, Suyuncu should be back and we're going to go all out for the victory. So let's go and get into this one. The first of today's 2 games. Another player's ended his unhappiness, this time Ryan Wright. So that just leaves Nuno Mendes from the first team squad. But none of the first 11 really, which is a good sign for us moving forward. The assistant is recommending a number of changes of course because we've rested so many for this one. The only first teamers, or the usual first 11 starting, is Loic Willems in goal I think. A couple of other maybe, so LaMonaco will probably play at the weekend because of the Suyuncu injury. We wouldn't play Santa Maria normally, his first choice at the moment due to the Santos injury. And that's really about it. Otherwise, it's a completely rotated side. So what that means is we've got Willems in goal, Sina and Mendes the fullbacks, with Morato and Lamonaco centre half. Did have a good game against Wolves, Lamonaco, in fairness. Farrell and Esposito in the middle, Santa Maria, Boga and March in the attacking midfield three. And Thomas Parks up front. Scored goals galore in the Europa League this season. 5 in 5, 3 assists, but yet to make an impact off the bench in the league. So he's got a chance from the start in this one. We'll be hoping he can do very well. But otherwise, some good returns to fitness on the bench. Kamara made his debut against Copenhagen off the bench. He's going to be available if we need him today. The same for Joe Willock, the same for Max Soden. Opportunity for some of the fringe players. And equally, if we are in a good position where we can hold on or chase a winner. We've got Ryan Wright, we've got Perea, and then we've got 2 of the first choice back 4. So plenty of options there, a lot of players getting a rest. And I'm hoping it'll be a positive display. But there's only one way to go and find out. When we played 2 big sides this season, probably the only 2 we've really faced, we've been absolutely battered. So these next 2 episodes against the rest of the top 7 is going to be a difficult one for us. Are we going to be able to get any points on the board? Let's start by finding out today. Chelsea v Tottenham at Stamford Bridge, and a big moment for us in this Premier League season. A star-studded Chelsea side who will be hoping they can beat us and wrap up second place. It will basically put them in the ascendancy for it. They've still got Chilwell from the originals. Pulisic and Mount still there. Just seeing if there's any on the bench. There's not. But there's other brilliant youngsters from real life. So Fabio Silva at Wolves. Axel Tuanzebe at Manchester United. Donnarumma from AC Milan. Odegaard currently at Arsenal on loan from Real Madrid. It is absolutely brilliant, this team. Demiral even at centre half. Another one we've missed out. But we're going to tell the lads to prove a point. Apart from Nuno Mendes, everyone's on board. It's a shame because he'd be a very good player if he just sorted his mentality out. Supposed to be light-hearted, but he's certainly holding a grudge here. So let's go and get into the first half. We'll go as sort of cautious as possible. Balanced mentality, 2 inverted wingers. Try and keep the pitch a little bit more condensed. But let's see how we get on. We could well shock Chelsea with our fresh team. And they have had football this season. It's not like they've been sitting out the whole year. They've played in the Europa League regularly this side. So there should be a bit of an understanding. 5 minutes gone, all good so far. But let's hope we can keep it up. Fingers crossed we can just sneak a result. Well, 35 minutes gone. On the pitch, going very well. Chelsea have had 6 shots, but none on target. So unless they score a screamer, we're all right. We haven't yet had a shot, but we're not going to worry about that. What we have got, though, is a concern injury-wise for Marchand in the attacking midfield role. So I think what we're going to do, just to keep it a bit tighter, should we maybe consider changing tactic here? I tell you what, instead of bringing on an attacking midfielder, or what we'll do, we'll bring Willock on because he can play there for now, but it gives us options later on, which we'll go and have a look at if we get to that position. If we reach 60, 70 minutes and we've still got a result, then potentially we'll think more defensively. Though Gabriel's trying to change that. 43 minutes in, we're getting the first highlight of the match. Chilwell into Odegaard in the middle. So much space to run into. Not good defending there. The press is not particularly working as Pulisic gets it on the right. Tries to take on the fullback Mendes. Delivers in and Lamonaco hacks it away. Parks tries to get there. Demiral picks it up. Thought it was an injury there the way he stopped, but it's into Pulisic and somehow it's hit the very inside of the post and bounced out. Surely that had to go in. You've got to feel for them. It was a great effort. And Chelsea's still yet to score and still yet to hit the target, I think. As the ball's with Chilwell on the left to Mount. Into the box. Pulisic there. Hits the post again. Miasi this time the centre forward. Rubio in. Ralph shot blocked. And they still can't find a way through. It is backs to the wall defending for Tottenham Hotspur. But at half time we're going to survive it. 9 shots. None on target for Chelsea. But thanks to the woodwork, we are surviving, but we're living a very charmed life. So 0-0 at half-time. We're going to tell the lads to prove a point. And bar Mendes again, everyone's motivated and everyone doing as well as they can. What we are going to do, though, in view of Chelsea's 4-2-3-1, is just change the tactic very slightly. So we're going to drop Willock back into midfield. He's going to replace Esposito in there. Esposito will then drop to a defensive midfield role. He's going to be just defensive midfielder on defend. Just literally sit there. We're also going to change Farrell to a deep line playmaker on support, where he's a little bit more natural. And Willock, I think Mazzala suits him anyway. So that's what we're going to go for now. We're just trying to keep a little bit of shape there. And maybe against the top sides, if this works, it could be a way forward. I know in the shape of Reina and Wright, we've got 2 exceptional world-class midfielders. But there's nothing to say that they can't play together in the middle as long as there's a defensive mind behind them. Demiral has a free header from the set piece and it goes just over the bar. But we're still surviving. And look, technically, we've had the only shot on target, albeit it wasn't worthy of a highlight, and it's led to a 0.01 expected goals. It all counts, it's still a shot. Santa Maria looks very unhappy over on the right wing. We're replacing with young Max Soden, and I know this isn't the way we really want to play. It's certainly not the way we're going to move forward. But while we've got these limitations, it seems sensible enough. We've got a knackered Cena at right back, so James Justin can come on for the last 15. And if we can hang on here, this would be a fantastic result. 18 shots to Chelsea, 1 on target. We had 1 shot on target, didn't look like scoring. You could argue we were fortunate. They hit the post a couple of times. They had some great efforts. You could argue I shouldn't have shown you a game where we were playing for a 0-0. But I think that shows you how far we've come since we played Liverpool in the last episode. A brilliant, disciplined defensive display. And we've managed to rest most of our first team for the North London derby. We're joint top of the Premier League, albeit United have a game in hand. I couldn't be much happier with that. I'm delighted with a point. I'm delighted with a performance. And now the first team have to make that rotation worthwhile. We'll be back in a moment to face Arsenal in the North London derby. We are back and it is another massive game. There is lots of injury news, but we're hoping, just hoping, that all of those rests in midweek are going to be worthwhile. We've had our recruitment meeting, and more importantly than that, looking ahead to the window, the Tottenham board have made extra transfer funds available. £54 million now for the director of football. And fingers crossed he's going to be able to do something special with that. Because as we've seen, we could do with a real quality right back. We could do with new centre halves because Longley and Suyuncu both well into their 30s. If we could just improve that defence a bit, the rest of the team's bordering on world class. So we're going to make the changes recommended by the assistant. And then we're going to see what else we need to do. Because there's probably a few bits of action that we need to deal with. So Suyuncu and Santos both not fit. Boga's not really fit either. So that could be a problem. Justin, LeMonaco, Longley and Smith are going to have to be the back 4. We'll make sure Cena's on the bench just to look after him. Morato's the only other fit defender. I'm very tempted to play with the holding midfielder like we did at Chelsea. But at home, and based on the final game of last season against Arsenal, I feel we can get in the ascendancy of this derby anyway. Maybe we should do Esposito. So what I'm going to do then is I'll start Esposito ahead of Montalval, just in case, because then I can drop to it if we need to. Santa Maria plays off the right, a Yildiz off the left, Pereira up front. That's all pretty much set in stone. So the only differences are going to be on the bench. Onofrio, to be fair to him, we've promoted him from the under-23s. He's really developing well, now 2.5-star ability, but not quite for this one. So Marchand on the bench for him. Lee Farrell will be on instead of Mendes because we want happy players on the bench. And I think that's what we're going to go for. It's not the strongest squad in the world. It's not quite what we were hoping for. But it's as good as we can get, I think. Maybe Willock against his former club, perhaps instead of Soden. Oh, I'm juggling it. No, let's do it. Willock's going to go in. And in fact, Soden will go on for Farrell. So we've got as many options as possible in terms of versatility. But let's go and get into it. The only change from our normal first team is the enforced one with LeMonaco coming in. And then Esposito ahead of Montalval. Santa Maria is having to play on the right, of course. But it's a very strong squad. And Pereira up front has been sensational all year. So let's hope that continues today. The North London derby to finish off. It's going to be spectacular this time, I think. And here we go. Thierry Henry still in charge of Arsenal. They've still got a side littered with brilliant talent. Calvert-Lewin, Chiesa, McNeil, Cook, Gabriel, Todibo, Max Aarons at right back. It's a wonderful side. Martinelli still have the originals on the bench. But it's all about us today. If we play at our best, we can get a result here. And if we can get back-to-back results, even if they're draws, against the 2 London rivals chasing us in the league, it means that if we stay consistent, we could well be in that race for the top 4. But for the moment, we're very happy with how things are going. And with 20 gone, Arsenal are yet to have a shot. We've dominated possession. We've dominated the chances. Nothing on camera just yet, but a confident performance. And I think that's all we can ask for. As Yildiz picks it up on the left-hand side, half an hour gone. Esposito into the first team today and he finds Reina. Playing out from the back is switched left to a Yildiz. We know he's got the quality, but can he get to the byline? He goes back to Aaron Smith, to Esposito. Lovely ball to Smith again, into a Yildiz. That is a brilliantly worked goal. Fantastic football down the left from Spurs. Esposito played that defence-splitting pass. Brilliant decision to bring him into the team. And the 2 men on the left wing combined to make it Spurs 1, Arsenal 0. And hopefully that's what we need from the North London derby. As we win ahead of there, it falls for Gabriel at centre-half, to Matthias Enrique, Cobanan, back to Cook. We know Arsenal are still a threat, and they've got it again with Enrique. Just coming into the final third. McNeil on the right-hand side. He'll be looking to cut in, we know that. Gets the ball in early. Oh, it's very poor defending. Beaten to it long late. A back heel from Calvert-Lewin. A lovely little flick. And you've got to say it's a stunning save from Willems. And Enrique will take the corner. Outswinger to the front post. Aaron Smith heads it away. It's back to Enrique again. Into the back post this time. And a header straight at Willems. Does well to hold it. And we tend to go to the break. Arsenal have had their first threat. As Tadebo's playing inside our half again. Short free kick to Cook. Up to Calvert-Lewin. Chiesa picks it up on the left. Oh, it's a great ball to Ruggeri. It's a wonderful effort. And it's just wide at the far post. James Justin beaten easily there. And on a booking, we've probably got to watch him. He's not had the best game. And in fact, at half-time, I think we will sub him. It's still 1-0 to Spurs. It's been a decent performance. But since the goal, Arsenal have dominated. So we're going to prove a point. We're going to take Justin off for Cena. We're also going to drop him to a defensive duty because he's not as good defensively. And we're just going to try and play a little bit more solidly. If we need to change to that three-man midfield again, put in the holding player later in the half, then perhaps that's something we consider as well. Because at the moment, we're going top of the Premier League. Right, it's been a very quiet first half an hour in this second half, just like it was the first. So what we're going to do is, I have to take Longley off. He's on a booking at the back. He's been poor. Morato's going to come on for him. I know that's a risk. In midfield, Santa Maria will be replaced by Max Soden, just to give us a bit of youth and a bit of quality up front, trying to get in behind. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same as the last game. We're going to put Esposito in the holding role. He'll be a defensive midfielder on defend, just sit there. And then out of Reina and out of Wright, I'm not sure which one's best at these roles. Reina will stay as he is. Wright will do the same. He's going to be a deep line playmaker on support. And that will compensate for the fact that Smith is still attacking on the left wing. So that's what we're going to do for now. We're going to stay positive. We're going to try and keep on the ball. But hopefully we can just see out the game here. As we've got a corner on the left. A second goal would not go amiss. Hodge heads it away. Henrique chases. Esposito there first. Brilliant anchorman play. Gets it back to Smith, the defender. On halfway, starts to charge forward. Yildiz plays a 1-2 with Wright. It's a through ball to him. He's in again. Great save by Costa Lima in the Arsenal goal. Yildiz nearly got his second of the game. And you've got to say, he's been brilliant in the derby. It's a corner kick for Reina to the front post. Esposito loses out. It falls for Soden. Can he create something down the right? It was a gamble bringing him on, but he's chasing to the byline. He's trying to beat his man. Does just that into Yildiz. And what a substitution that turned out to be. Wonderful technical dribbling from Soden. Beats his man, puts him on his backside. And Yildiz is there with his second of the game. And we've got a big game player. We are 2-0 up against Arsenal in the North London derby. And as it stands, it's sending us top of the Premier League. I know we were poor in the last episode. But now we're settling into the tactic. The new players are getting comfortable. And we're starting to look a very good side. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Arsenal 0. And the top four is very much on. If we can win a trophy and get Champions League football, this could be the perfect season. I wouldn't write us off for it because we've got 4 or 5 world-class players. Let's go and see how that leaves us after the day's action and have a look at when we're next going to be back because it's 2 more big games in the offing. Well, the big excitement was short-lived because United win their game and they go back to the top of the Premier League. But I don't actually think that's the important thing this season. We are going to drop points along the way. But what that result has done is given us a 9-point cushion to Arsenal. Now, Chelsea 6 points behind have probably got the ability to stop us. Liverpool we saw in the last episode. Once they're on the charge, if they're focusing on the Premier League, they'll make it easily. Arsenal, though, are probably the side we're looking at and thinking, based on last season, where they nearly got pipped by Everton to 4th place, that we can probably get ahead of. And if we can get in the top 4 in the Champions League at the expense of Arsenal, that would be a very important season for Spurs fans. Now, we've had a fairly easy run so far. As we mentioned, before this episode, we'd only played 2 of last year's top 7. And we didn't do very well against those. However, we've played 2 today and picked up 4 points, done an awful lot better. And in the next episode, we're going to play the other 2. Because Everton finished 5th last season, United were champions and will be again, of course. And they're coming up in just 3 games' time. So what we're probably going to do is come back for those 2 games. In fact, we might even do the Leicester quarter-final in United, because Everton are having a poor year. So I guess we'll depend on how we do against West Brom. Everton down in 14th at the minute, so they're not having the best season in the world. So I think what we'll do then is on camera we'll show Leicester in the League Cup quarter-final because we really want to win a trophy. And Leicester are going to be good opposition there. And then we'll show United, of course, the leaders of the Premier League. And we'll see, just like when we played Liverpool and City, how hard it could be for us to get near the top. But a wonderful episode, much better performances against good sides, and 2 clean sheets, which after letting in 5 against Liverpool, of course, is a big relief. So I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope you can see the progress. If you're looking forward to the rest of the season and you did rate those performances, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think we should prioritise. Top 4 of the Premier League or a couple of big trophies. I'm thinking, look, this club hasn't won something for 20 years. We've got to go for it. And even if we can win the League Cup early, it would just give us a little sigh of relief. Whereas the Premier League, the top 4 looks a possibility now. If we'd lost that Arsenal game, it would have been very hard to see. But if we can get through the next episode, if we can compete against United, if we can do well against Everton, then 2029 could be very exciting for us personally as a manager and for Tottenham Hotspur as well. So if you're looking forward to that and you want to stay up to date, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as daily videos released from 2 long-term stories. There's links to all the playlists and the podcast channel in the eye above. And there's links to the Twitch channel in the description below. But a massive thank you for your support as always. Let me know what you thought of the season so far. And I'll see you next time, not long in the future at all, as we try and get closer to our first trophy at Tottenham and potentially challenge for the top of the Premier League. I'll see you next time to find out if we can do it.